Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Authors Behaving Badly. As always, Zachary Chopchinsky here to just talk the ish and do all that other fun stuff with my buddy here, Martina.
Hi.
Hi. What's with the face?
I don't like this new.
I'm trying to find like my pace, my like flow,
groove.
my groove.
Your new groove.
Yes, my new groove. Gotta get a new groove.
Get it quick. We're on episode 4 here, Sparky.
Damn it.
Take your privileges of intros away.
Aw. Well, you can't go to you because they'll be like, "Hi, it's Authors Behaving Badly."
Oh, I guess I could do your intro since I've been listening to you do it for years.
Why is my mic being dumb?
Well,
It's all sliding.
as stupid as stupid does.
Miss Gump. All right, anyway, so for those of you new to the podcast, you picked a really weird time to start listening, like multiple episodes in, but whatever. For those of you that are, back again, suckers. But anyway, for those of you that are new to the podcast, so basically what this is Martina and I are going to sit here for the next half an hour. We're going to talk about a specific author, scandal, crime, issue, bad life decisions, eating habits.
God knows there's no shortage of authors making bad life decisions.
Right?
Even in this room.
I know, right? I feel like authors, it's just like celebrities. Like, you'd be surprised at the horrible shit that some authors get into.
If we had to do an episode on ourselves, it would be so traumatic because Zach and I have no idea how to process our childhood trauma. So we think we're being funny while everybody else is like, oh my God, none of this is okay.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Why? He says as he, snorts another Adderall. I eat another fucking taco. We're good.
Yeah. I mean, who didn't spend at least like 3 weeks as a kid living off of nothing but canned peas?
I mean,
like, obviously. No, they weren't heated. Who heats it up, right?
Whose parents let them fall out of a moving car? Just mine.
I mean, yeah.
Good times.
Yeah. That's a path for conversation later. So anyway,
all by myself.
So
what are we talking about today, Zach?
Well, let me pull up the name. Yeah. So the author that I have chosen for today's episode is somebody that Martina might know a little bit, and some of y'all might know as well. It's going to be Miss Anne Perry.
She's real big in the 80s and the 90s.
Yes, she's a historical detective fiction writer, and the big characters that she's known for creating were Thomas Pitt and William Monk.
Did they base the show Monk off of her character? Not her, personally.
I think so, actually.
I'm kind of curious about that now. But I know that my grandmother was a huge Anne Perry fan. They were all over her bookshelves. I don't think I ever read her, though, because I was not a historical fiction kind of person unless there was, boobs.
There was a Monk series, but it's listed as books.
Yeah, so it must not be. It must
there
just
are
be a coincidence.
24 books in the Monk series, though.
Huh. Imagine that.
Yeah. So anyway, the fun part about this is, this young lady, old lady, actually.
I was going to say, she's not
born
young.
in the 30s.
Oof! Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad was born in 28, and he would have been 90.
Yeah, she's born in 1938. Is an English,
the olden days.
Yeah, is an English historical detective fiction author, obviously. But here comes the fun part. The irony behind what she writes. Because when this heifer was 15, she and one of her best gal pals...
Time traveled?
Yeah, right? No, so hang on, let me... was it her? Let me check. Okay, here we go. So her and her best gal pal, Pauline Parker, went for a stroll in the park with Pauline's mother and bludgeoned her to death with a brick.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I think I vaguely remember hearing about this.
Yeah. So basically, these two were like all up in their own asses, like creating like their own like fantasy world in their head with like that they were like living lives with like James Mason and Orson Welles and just like this whole crazy fantasy thing in their head. And the two of them could never be separated and blah, blah, blah. So when she was 15, she and her friend went on a walk in Victoria Park, and Anne Perry, her birth name was Juliette Marion Hume.
Yes, I do know this case. And it was because her mom said they were either moving, I think they were moving away, or her mom said that she couldn't hang out with that other girl anymore for some reason. And so
parents were in the process of separating, and one was moving to South Africa.
Yep.
And the teenage friends did not want to separate. But Anne Perry, Juliette Hume, as she was known then, so the author, it was her friend's mother that they killed. And what had happened was they were walking through this park, and our author friend Anne Perry dropped a shiny rock that the other mother collected, and as she bent down to pick up the piece of candy shiny rock, they cracked her in the back of the dome with a half brick.
Yeah.
And the fun part is these two girls assumed that one strike will do it. No, they basically crushed her head in with 20 hits from the brick until the mother actually died.
Because her kids are not strong.
Layla's is fake. Very matter of fact. We're like, obviously.
Dumb kids. They don't know what it takes to crack a skull.
A half brick, at least 20 strikes to the base of the spine.
Layla did the math while she was breastfeeding because she can multitask like that.
So they bludgeoned this woman to death. They were both charged with murder, but because of their age and the equivalency federal laws were back then, basically they couldn't be charged with minors. They were charged with, I think it's Queen's Law or something, the phraseology used for it.
Are they in South Africa?
They were in New Zealand at this time. Her Majesty, they were detained at Her Majesty's pleasure, and they were denied the death penalty because under that law they were unable to stand justice as adults. So they served 5 years.
I like that they were like at Her Majesty's pleasure. Like that sounds so fun. Like the Queen, like they have a slumber party with the Queen.
The Queen had your ass locked up, fool, basically. But yeah, so they both served 5 years and were released at separate times from separate facilities. And supposedly they've never been in contact again since the murder and the trial. And then she changed her name to Anne Perry. And
as you should, if you bludgeon your mother to death.
Or your friend's mother.
Oh, friend's mother.
Yeah. And then she went on to be this big author and write these 2 very famous series. But it's funny, she's a crime author and this bitch murdered somebody.
There's an entire list of authors who wrote books about the crimes they themselves committed.
O.J. Simpson.
And nobody knew about it until they got busted later.
Oh no, we all knew O.J. did that shit.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of rumors that O.J. didn't do that shit, but his son did, and he covered up for him. Yeah, because his son had like an explosive
diarrhea,
anger disorder.
That's a lot like explosive diarrhea.
It is, except sometimes it ends in murder
and
blood.
Diarrhea can still end in blood.
Not in murder, usually.
I mean, I'm just saying they both kind of...
It would be a very messy crime scene. They would find you.
Either way, there's still way too many similarities between this and explosive diarrhea.
Also,
that's like the guy that just recently a guy wasn't paying attention, drove off of a partial bridge, ran into a manure truck. It was covered in shit, and then just got out of his truck, grabbed his shotgun, and walked away.
Wait, what?
He decided to take a shotgun with him? Just in case what? He ran into any rogue
cows?
They still haven't found him.
What?
What happened?
This guy was driving at like 5 o'clock in the morning in his pickup truck on the highway, I think. On like maybe an overpass, or it was kind of, something that went kind of like an overpass. And he wasn't paying attention or started to fall asleep or something and drove off of the bridge and hit. When he landed on the bottom, he ran into a truck that was one of those big fertilizer trucks, but it's essentially just a big truck full of poop.
Cow poop.
Yeah.
Hit it, crashed into the truck. He's covered in shit. His truck is covered in shit. Shit is all over the place. This happened.
It is a literal shit show.
This happened in front of somebody's residence, like in front of their house. So their house is splattered in shit. And then he just gets out of his truck. The woman that lived in the house was the one that said that this happened. He gets out of his truck covered in shit, grabs a shotgun, and walks away.
So he has a head injury and is probably in dire need of help right now, would be my guess.
Police are still looking for him.
I mean, just as that scene plays out, I mean, I think we can all imagine. We've all been in
I'm
a
so
fucking Taco Bell
humiliated.
bathroom.
I'm leaving. I'm just taking my shotgun and
And
starting a
going
new
home.
life.
Taking my toys and going home.
That was like when I worked at I worked for the Drug Study Institute as a clinical research coordinator. My doctor also ran a family practice.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was right when Orlistat became a really big thing, that diet drug. And one of the side effects of Orlistat was anal leakage.
Yeah, my mom.
Yeah, those
used to
Lay's
take
Wow
it.
potato chips.
Exactly. So he gives it to this really high-powered attorney who wanted to lose some weight. And in the middle of her big board meeting, she shits herself so badly that they had to throw away her office chair. And I was like, nope. If that ever happened to me, I would never return. I would never go back to that job, even if it was my job and my business that I owned. That would be it. I would have to get a new name, start a new life. You don't recover from that because no matter what they said, they would always remember that about you. Like, you don't want to be the person known as the one lady who violently shit herself in a meeting so badly they had to throw away your office chair.
Yeah, we had a couple of those at the place I used to work, and that they never lived that shit down.
Literally, yeah.
Literally.
So back to Anne Perry, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When you say they were gal pals, like Kristen Stewart and her now girlfriend gal pals, or like
Just like besties.
besties who don't want to be separated so badly that they are willing to murder?
I mean, they're 50.
That's, I mean, yeah,
but
who hasn't done dumb shit when they were a teenager?
I have never liked another human being so much that I was willing to kill just to hang out with them more.
Okay, so not a Justin Bieber. Got it. Well, so here's the deal. So they go, right? And obviously that's how the crime takes place. So these two, covered in blood. It's funny, these two 15-year-old idiots from back in the day were still smarter than what's-her-nuts that we just
Nancy
talked about.
Crampton Brophy.
Yeah. So they run back.
Nance.
They run back basically through this wooded trail to this tea kiosk. It's funny, talking about what we were talking about yesterday, marquees. They ran to this tea kiosk that the three of them had just had like tea and lunch.
It's fun to say.
Tea kiosk. That the three of them had just had lunch, and they basically went up to the shop owners and they told the husband and wife, like, my mom just fell down and she's hurt really bad. Please send help. And so they obviously like, oh no. So already their story is a better aligned one than that grown ass woman. But the funny thing is, they get down there and everybody shows up and they're like, she fell down and hit her head. They're like, her head's been bludgeoned in. She goes, she fell a few times. Like, I don't know what.
You fell and hit your head on a rock, and you were like, oh, and you tried to get back up, and you just kept hitting that same rock.
You guys know how, like, when there's a guy on a farm and he steps on the hoe and it comes up and hits his face, and then he turns around and steps on a rake and he does it again, and it just goes back and forth for a couple of minutes while usually like a duck and a rabbit watch. That's what happened with my mom. Only it was one break in the back of the head. Yeah.
I'm duck, she's rabbit.
Yeah.
Just for your record.
We were arguing over what season it was, and then my mother just kept falling over and over and over on the back.
And you were like,
head.
Mom, get it together. You're embarrassing us.
You know that scene in The Exorcist that hasn't been invented yet, where she's like up and down on the bed? That. So obviously it quickly fell apart, and they were both convicted of this crime, just because they didn't want to be separated. Because not Perry, but her friend. Yeah, there was like that whole, she's going to South Africa with her mom and shit like that. And the thought was, well, if we kill her, she's not going anywhere. She's going to stay locally. I mean,
I'm just calling it. One of them wanted to be.
I think both
More
of them,
than
if they were both DTK, down to kill.
Like I said, I don't like anybody enough to kill for them. Not even me.
They were, I think you're right. I think they were straight up scissor sisters. Like, I think that was.
Or whatever the 15-year-old equivalent is back in the day.
Because
now it's the same.
Yeah,
but back in the day, who knows?
Well, it's back in the 50s. So, I wonder what they would have called them back. Malt mates?
Gal pals. Just palling around. Dietz knows.
She's drunk.
She's milk drunk.
I love you. I haven't saw you much.
We should be gal pals.
Yeah, and we're already just sucking boobs together. Right? We should just like go and like start a small business.
are you becoming more and more Minnesotan as we record? We're on episode 4, and everything you've said this episode has sounded like you were like, oh, you betcha. Oh, sorry, just let me squeeze past you. Like, what the fuck is happening over there?
It's all the cheese building up. It's not Minnesota. It's fucking Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. My daughter wants to move to Wisconsin, by the way. Can we talk about that for a second? Who wants to voluntarily move to Wisconsin?
Ugly people.
Not like veggies, because they don't eat veggies there.
Do you know why she wants to move to Wisconsin, even though
Cheese.
she won't admit it? No, that 70s show. She's obsessed with it.
Is Point Place an actual city in Wisconsin?
It is not. But every house does look like the house on that 70s show. And I don't want to live in that green, shag-carpeted nightmare.
I mean, just remind her that the actor that played Hyde is a sexual assaulter.
She knows!
Oh.
I mean, I'm not saying she wants to date him. She's married, but I'm just saying. It's also Laura Prepon. She's got a real hard on for her.
Which one was that one?
Donna. She's sliding. Where is she going?
She's hanging
We've got a rogue baby.
Down the knee. Oh, goddamn.
Anything else you want to tell us about Anne Perry?
No, just, so she did that, and then she went on and had a very successful career creating those 2, like, detective novels.
Do you think she, like, murdered anybody else? Like, once you kind of get away with murdering somebody, do you think it makes you more likely to try to murder somebody else? Or do you think it's
like when
a
your hamster
one and done?
bites you and they get the taste of blood?
I think it kind of is, though. I think that if you murder somebody, you're definitely more likely to murder somebody again. Do you know? Like how they say if you've witnessed somebody dying violently, you're more likely to be a victim of a violent crime when you're an adult.
Okay, so people have officially accused Anne Perry or Juliette Hume and that one girl being basically into one another.
Yeah.
And Perry came out in 2006 by stating that while the relationship was obsessive, the two were never lesbians, in quotes.
We didn't act on it, is what that means.
Yeah, I didn't inhale.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the equivalency of
we
that.
wanted to get busy, but we were too afraid of our parents.
So we just killed one of them.
Yeah, well, you know.
Maybe that's why it was so like they were just like that pent up rage of like oppressed lesbianism.
Have you ever been so enraged and horny
that's
that
what I'm
you
saying.
just wanted to kill somebody?
Like they just hit her once, just like that pounding. They just like I want to pound something. Just. You think they held eye contact the whole time and were just all sweaty?
I'm guessing if they're your
minors.
Yeah, I'm guessing if you ever like saw 2 15-year-old girls try to come together to do anything, it probably was a lot like one person hit them and the other person was like, holy shit, you really did that. And then the other person was like, don't just fucking stand there, help me. And they're just like, why is she still moving? Oh, fuck, this sucks. We're totally going to prison for this.
And then they just awkwardly, like dwarves, like alternating with hammers hitting a stake into the ground. They just like tink, tink,
Well, not only that,
tink.
I think there's a lot of screaming going on, or at least trying not to scream, while they're just like horrified by what they're doing, but super hyped up on adrenaline. That's just not a good combo, because girls are mean. And once they get that, I'm telling you, once they get that taste for blood.
Or it could have been even scarier, and there were no sounds or emotions whatsoever, just beating a woman to death with a brick. Because you get those
that
like
would be horrific.
Macaulay
That's like
Culkin fucking good son fucking
that's
shit
some
going
bad
on.
seed shit right there. I don't know. Are you old enough to know the movie The Bad Seed? It's essentially The Good Son, only it was with a
Older,
little
yeah,
girl.
yeah. I'm trying to figure. There's not much more to the case. It was pretty straight up forward. I mean, they just fucking beat this woman to death, and they only served 5 years, and then they bounced.
Which just goes to show you, in New Zealand, if you commit a crime at 15, you can be out by 20 and still go on to have a very bright future.
Well, granted, I don't know what what this shit.
Let's talk about the girl whose mother it was. I wonder what happened to her. What did she go on to do with her life?
Well, let's look her up. So okay, here we go. Now, mind you, Perry is still alive.
Oh, interesting. Well, Anne, if you'd like to come on the record and defend yourself. Hit us up.
Let's see. She spent time in England, the United States, later settling in England and becoming a successful. Oh wait, no, that was that's her friend. Sorry. Was under close surveillance. Beginning 1997, she was living in a small village of who? Near.
She was living in the small village of.
She was living in a small village of who near Strood.
Oh, come on! So she was living in Whoville,
running a children's riding school.
Horses, I hope.
Okay, sure, whatever you say. As an adult, she became a devout Roman Catholic, of course, because you could pray the sin and the gay away.
Like maybe it wasn't horses.
Yeah. It could have dead ass been a children riding school.
I don't know why it was funnier when you said it. Oh, we're going to hell. I'm so glad I don't believe in it.
Right? While she's never 1968 released, her sister is expressing the strong remorse for having killed their mother. Her sister further stated that Pauline committed the most terrible crime and spent 40 years repaying it by keeping away from people and doing her own little thing.
She wasn't keeping away from people? What, children aren't people now?
I mean,
the Catholics don't think so, but the rest of us do.
She basically is just running a children riding school.
Stop saying it like that.
That's all it's called, but it's a blue link so I can click children riding school.
No, don't. You'll go to prison. You'll be on a watch list, and then Kyle will have to keep an eye on both of us.
An equestrian facility is created to maintain the purpose of accommodating, training, or competing equids, especially horses. Wait, what the fuck is an equid if it's not a horse?
Yeah, isn't that equine?
Yeah, it's training or competing equids, especially horses.
Oh, maybe like ponies.
Like based on their use, they
zebras.
They may be known as a barn, stable, or riding hall. Okay, listen. Okay, if it's a children's riding academy and you're calling it the riding hall, you're setting people up for a lot of confusion and failure.
All I can think of is the fucking Anne Rice books, the Sleeping Beauty trilogy, with all their pony play.
Oh, God.
Not with children. That's not what I was saying. That's disgusting.
Oh, let's look up a picture of what she looks like now and just see if she really looks like exude. Oh, yeah, she's mad sus.
Anne Perry, mad sus. Oh.
See?
So she looks like Nancy Crampton Brophy if she actually had money.
Yeah, so I know there's not much science behind phrenology, all right? But I'm telling you that I'm looking at two old white women that have horribly killed people and look vastly similar in their old ass
their
age.
names might be Nancy and Anne, but their names are really Karen.
What if it's Nancy?
Yes, it's this. But my mom was Anne, but no E. So maybe it's the E that makes you evil.
A little bit of E at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom was a fucking saint.
Dorothy Mantooth is a saint. Oh, God, yeah. So authors fucking kill people.
Yeah, and it seems like they're running rampant.
And they surprisingly don't get away with it as often as you would think they would.
Or do they?
That's a good point.
How many authors do we know personally who might have a literal skeleton in their closet? Hey, if anybody wants to come on the podcast anonymously and tell us about that guy you murdered.
Yeah, we'll put one of those filters on your voice so it sounds like you had a laryngectomy. Just like, yeah.
Oh, you sound like Satan?
Yeah.
You know, because makes sense.
Which Satan? Like the Al Pacino, like Devil's Advocate?
That would be fun. That's the best kind of Satan. Charlie thinks you have to hawk up a loogie.
Then I killed him. No. We'll call him Fredo. I don't know. Or will he be like, didn't Christopher Walken play Satan once?
If he didn't, he should. Christopher Walken would be perfect. Boys.
Then I killed him.
Whoa.
I don't know. Whoa. Oh, God. There's so many actors I feel like would play a really good Satan. But then also ones that I think would just be fucking hilarious if they played Satan.
Who was the one in the Brendan Fraser movie? The really hot one?
That it's Bedazzled or something? Yes, yeah. Bedazzled is the movie. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, her name was, I want to say Rachel Hunter? I don't know, but she actually plays the queen in a show called The Royals.
Okay.
It's a British show. Very soapy. Very soapy. But, just absolutely absurd. It's like the Gossip Girl of British royals. But she does a great job playing, the horniest queen in the world.
Aren't they all? Just
I don't know. I don't really know any queen. Well, I know a lot of queens, but I don't know anybody with an actual title.
I mean, wigs,
I'm sitting next to one.
dresses, makeup, pretty similar.
My hair.
Peanut butter.
All right, so who are you going for this week?
I'm thinking E.L. James.
Oh. All right.
And I pick her because I feel like it would be interesting if we allowed weapons in the fight, what sort of shit she's pulling out and how many thumbs.
Well, we all know she loves her thumbs.
That'd be like her handle, like, I'm here for your thumbs. Like
4 thumbs up.
Up where?
Oh, okay, fuck. Okay, E.L.
That's kind of the
James
point.
versus... Damn it. You know what? I'm going with Anne Rice, because Anne Rice also wrote porn. And I think that would be an interesting match.
But I have Anne Rice as Nora Roberts' tag team partner.
Too bad. There's no tag teaming in the celebrity death match.
Well, I feel like if we're talking about E.L. James, there might be.
E.L. James and Anne Rice.
Bare minimum, some Eiffel Towering. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. Anne Rice has got a lot of smutty shit in her books.
I know. Like,
That's
especially
fair. That's
in
fair.
the Sleeping Beauty trilogy. I think if E.L. James can have all the thumbs and Anne Rice has got pony play, there's definitely going to be... Except they might get distracted and stop fighting each other. That could be a problem.
With mine, like, I don't even think of that far. I just think of, like, when I think Anne Rice and, like, horny, dirty characters, I think of Armand.
Well, he was definitely... My biggest fucking beef with Anne Rice is that she didn't take it all the way. Like, she made every
Phrasing.
single one of her vamps the horniest, most sexually fluid she could, and then she didn't pull the plug on any of it. There wasn't one gay scene in any of those books.
Well, if you go by, like, Anne Rice, is it her vampire, like, universe where vampires can't get a hard on because obviously there's no blood flow?
Cop out.
There's prosthetics now, and
Not only that, there's ways around that. Come on, it's a fucking fiction book. Anyway, all right, social media.
apparently my 9-month-old daughter agrees with you.
Yes.
Who's 9 months today, by the way.
Yes, happy birthday. Month day?
Whatever.
Deez, I'm working here. All right, if you want to find us on Facebook, it is facebook.com/groups/books and bullshit. Or no, sorry. Damn it, I fucked up first. Damn it. Okay, erase that. Erase. Facebook.com/groups/authors behaving badly podcast. You can find us on Facebook page the same way, just get rid of groups. Twitter is @AuthorsBadly.
Still my favorite.
TikTok, you can just look us up as Authors Behaving Badly Podcast. Instagram is Authors Behaving Badly Podcast with little hyphens in between them. Underscores, thank you. Underscores, not hyphens. And I think that's it. Oh, if you want to email us and tell us how badly we suck, authorsbehavingbadlypodcast@gmail.com. And now we should probably go before Dietz finishes eating the headphones.
Bye.
Bye.